Welcome to another episode of
Ray and Nev.
And today we have two guests. Actually, one of them.
Hold on, before we even do that, hold on. It's been like 2 weeks. We haven't seen you on here. What's going on?
I was at the Diplomat over in Hollandale Beach in Miami
for the vault, right?
Vault event. Yeah.
And who's that with?
That's with Patrick Bet-David, and he had an amazing cast of guest speakers. They had Billy Beane from Moneyball. If you guys never seen, he actually is from the Oakland A's. He was the manager that literally said, "You know what? We can't compete with the big boys.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So let's do data driven." So it basically, and I love the way Patrick put it together, because what he did is he built a business based on the levels. And a lot of people probably didn't get this at the Vault, but as I saw him build it, I started to see he was a freaking genius the way he did it, because he started with, okay, you want to start a business? Go get your data first, right? Go get your data. Billy Beane was the expert at that. He went and found people that were database people that will. So, because what happened was the Oakland A's can never compete. They can never compete against the New York Yankees of the world, the Boston Red Sox of the world, because they had the money. Remember,
they couldn't afford to buy the star players.
There's no what do they call it?
It's no cap.
There's no cap in baseball.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So because there's no cap, like football has a cap, but in baseball there's not a cap. So what happens is, if you can afford a Yankee player, you go get whoever you want.
And the A's couldn't do that.
A's couldn't do that. They didn't have the money, nor did they have the revenue to do that. So what he did is he says, let's focus on data, and let's focus on. And one of the data's items that he discussed was, he said, focus on who can get on base. I don't care what they look like. I don't care how powerful of a hitter they are, but can they get on base? What is their on base percentage? And they built their team around that. And they built an amazing team that actually held a record of 20-0 in 1 year. And that record actually just got broken this year by the Cleveland Indians.
Oh.
And guess how they broke it?
Same way?
Same data. They went data driven on how they wanted to build their team.
Instead of focusing on just like buying a key player, a star player, they were like, let's see who can actually just get. As long as you can get to first base, we can get to second base.
Well, think about the genius of it, because think about if you had 20 power hitters, or you only need 9 on a team. So let's say 9 of your team members were alpha males. You know the clashing that occurred.
Yep.
You know, if you look at Tom Brady and you look at the way he when he came to Tampa. And he talked about how when they built the Tampa Bay Bucks to become a championship team, a lot of those cats are humble, very humble cats. So going back to that, data driven, that was step 1. Step 2, the next person was Dustin Poirier, which a lot of us don't know who he is till recently.
Oh yeah,
because he just whooped
McGregor
O'Connor twice.
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, thank you. He whooped him twice.
You don't want to use
right?
He whooped him. He whooped him once.
I do. I saw both fights.
He whooped him once, and
it
was a stoppage.
Conor McGregor fan.
No, that L wasn't put on Conor's record. It was a doctor stoppage.
It was a stoppage, but he broke his leg because he wasn't training.
He broke it. He had a fracture. He had a fracture prior to that, though.
So what did Dustin bring to the table? One of the things that I learned from Dustin was that you got to grind. You know, so hard work. Because the kid in his first fight, his wife drove him to the. Yeah. They didn't even have their own car. They used the mother's car for his wife to drive him to his first fight. You know, and his wife has been at every fight ringside. So that's the crazy part. No matter where he goes, he takes his wife with him. Cool story about that is we raised we were supposed to raise like $20,000, and Patrick Bet-David was going to match it with another $20,000 to give generators to the people in New Orleans. Obviously, we all know that what happened in New Orleans. We raised I think something like $34,000, and Patrick Bet-David gave $20,000 of his own money. They matched that up to 20, and so we ended up giving them 50-something thousand for generators. And then we took a picture and we sent it out to them, and they were really happy. That was pretty cool. Then the next person that came up was Greg Scher, which was a good, amazing character. And the reason why I say amazing character is because you could tell he was that nerd in school, but he really wasn't. Like he just was focused, and he did equity banking his whole life, private equity banking. And he literally broke down like, okay, so first thing, you got the analytics. Second thing, you have the the grit, which is the hard work.
Mhm.
And then now you're building. So what do you need next to grow it? Capital.
Mhm.
So he brought on Greg Shear. Greg Shear shows you how to get the capital because he's a private equity. So he showed us exactly the breakdown of how you go and ask for the capital, right? Angel investing, boots, straps and boots, all of that good stuff. Then after that, we have Phil Heath. What did Phil Heath say? So you work your ass off, right?
Who's Phil Heath?
Phil Heath is 7-time Mr. Olympia.
Oh yeah,
So-
I'm like I know him.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's huge, right?
Yeah.
So he got on stage and he said, and his thing was health. You have to focus on your health because the thing is, you become a billionaire, gazillionaire, whatever, you're going to spend all your millions and billions just to try to get your health back. And that's not going to help. Obviously, we just talked about that this morning with several people that have passed, like Steve Jobs being one of them.
Yep.
All the money in the world didn't save his life.
Yep.
So he focused on health. He's like, listen, you got to put in the work. You got to do the exercise. You got to eat right. You got to do everything you got to do to give yourself a long life. Because like Eric was saying, he wants to spend time with his family, friends, and his inner circle. But how can he do that if he's not taking care of himself? Eventually, he will be a missed position within that circle.
Yeah.
Because he'll be gone. But if we take care of our health, then we can work towards, making sure we have a long, healthy, and amazing life. Then after that, they brought in Gary Kasparov, which is he is the chess champion for 20 years. What did he talk about? He talked about, okay, so let's go through the cycle, right? Cycle 1, let's go ahead and get the data on building the business. Cycle 2, let's work hard at building it. Cycle 3, let's go ahead and get the money so that we can grow it. Cycle 4, let's go ahead and continue to stay healthy so we can last the company or last as long as the company does, or even longer if we can. And number 5 is now that you have built the company, now you're going to have people that are within the company that are going to try to destroy the company. So you have to build strategies to continue continue going forward. So he was more the creative mind of it all.
Mhm.
So that's how he built it. I don't know if he purposely did it that way, but the way it worked, it literally showed me like, okay, here's the steps. He's giving us the formula, even though it was in the book that way. He's giving us the formula on how he became successful, because that's probably the steps that he took into building his business. And when I was following him, he used to be worth about, $5 million. He's worth 150 million now. Actually, he's probably above that number now. So that was pretty cool. So when I say that event, and then I think I called a few of you, right? And what did I say? What did I tell you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
When I called you, I was like, what are we doing next year?
Oh yeah, we're all going to the vault.
And we're going into what seating?
What was it?
CEO.
CEO, yeah.
CEO. And how much is a CEO ticket?
$10,000.
$10,000. It's worth every penny. And why do I want you guys to be there? Because I had a conversation with Lewis one time, and I was like, yo, we're going to be millionaires. And Lewis is like, bro, I'm scared of that. Like, every time you say it, I want to believe it, but I don't know how. And then I told him, I was like, because your mindset's got to be there. Eventually your mindset's there. If your mindset's not there, like, I'll give you this. Raise your hand if you've already made $1 million. We've all made $1 million. If you look at from the minute you started working till now, and you have you've done it. You've done it. Now, what are we changing? We're changing the way we're doing it.
Mhm.
Instead of making it over 20-year lifespan, let's do it over a year. Let's do it over 2 years. That's the only difference between the millionaire and the non-millionaire, is that he figured out a way to say, it took me 20 years to make my first million. It's going to take me a year to make my second, because he's going to compound all of that.
Mhm.
So that's where I think I learned a lot. And I think that we're all going to benefit from that, because obviously I got the book. I've been training. I've been, working my butt off. I was here which is kind of funny because Heather was here late yesterday.
Yeah, she was.
So I walked downstairs. I thought I was the only one here, and I'm walking out, and then I'm like, oh my God, Heather, you're here. So, there's a lot of people that are at this office that are grinding just like we are, and we're going to set the bar to a different standard. We're all going to be like people that, that the rest of the office is going to look up to, and we're going to just set that bar to where you want to work at this office. You gotta bleed and breed what we do. And if not, I'm okay with you working at another La Rosa office, because if they don't want to have the standards that we do, I'm okay with that. But we are going to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We are going to work and do this, because at the end of the day, everybody you come across is going to look at you like the stepping stone of, if I go to work, like, I don't know if we were looking at the Boiler Room interview, he was like, if you work here, you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
It's up to you how much over are you going to be that, and then what is it that you're going to do with it? Because that's important, you know. So that was my week, by the way, and in a recap. But I know it was long-winded, but it was because obviously that formula was really important to me. Like I saw it. I don't know how many people there saw it, but that formula was super important to me because it showed me that now I can have clarity over what we need to do. Matter of fact, we were working on it for almost an hour and a half yesterday.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, right, basically putting everything down in a format that we can actually look at it.
And exactly, and then what did we notice? One of the biggest things we noticed is I have less time.
You're using more time than you have.
Correct. So now we have to take those numbers and we have to actually break them back down so that those times are, that it adds up to 100. Because what was the worst percentage that we saw where it said family? What was that?
Oh man, that was 12%.
12%, which is horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, eventually, yeah, it's like that at the beginning because you're building something. But let's say you build it in 2-3 years, right? Then that percentage starts to change because now that time with family expands because you're going to be able to have more time because now you've built a business that, what is the book we're reading?
Sustain the sell.
Oh, business that you can sell.
Correct. It's not saying that we're going to sell the business, but I'm just saying it's built to sell. That means it works without you.
Yeah.
And as long as it could work without us, then it becomes that amazing machine. So that's all I have. So anybody else have any?
Good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It was great. Hope to be on another episode of Ray and Nev. But we'll stay tuned, I guess.
You know what? We have to have him back on here when he does like the 3D layout of all the floor plans.
Yes.
And so we can talk about how we were able to get that established.
So Juan's already showed me a company that can do it, but that company can only do based on their layouts. They won't do our layout. So I'm looking for other companies now to get that done. So we'll have the 3D layouts pretty soon. We have the 3D layout. We created I got the app to create them. Now we have to hire the company to actually build it.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we'll get that pretty soon. And then Lewis, he's always welcomed on the episode. This is like what, the 6th time, 7th time you've been on here.
He's a veteran.
He's a veteran on the show.
Yeah.
Man. So any final words for anybody out there listening that want Lewis to be like, you want to go ahead and give him like a pitch about why you should be in this chair?
Just everybody be out there, be safe, and just tune in to the next episode.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.